swear. Oh, hey there. I was just recording something and I decided to start over. But I want to talk about, I was listening to something. And I want to talk about how, how the condition of the female determines the condition of that particular nation. Race, culture, whatever you want to call it. The condition of the female determines the condition of that particular nation. Right? And the reason I want to say this is because of what was how the brown woman by allowing and there true enough, a lot of them are indoctrinated, but a lot of them are not very indoctrinated. But by many of them being so male identified and just allowing, I would say, constantly allowing their counterparts to constantly put another woman above them, another shade above their complexions, right? It's like constantly allowing that. What it does is it teaches other generations that it's okay to be like that. So, like, I remember when a lot of stuff really it's already been bad, right? But then it was more exposed. Let me say, it was more exposed to everybody in the world, starting in 2006 with when YouTube started, right? And it went on for a long time. And then you had celebrities like actors and rappers and singers and stuff, mostly rappers though. And then you had some actors, male actors, that started putting brown women down, right? And then you have a lot of brown women that just continue to go along with it. And, I discussed this before, and I talked about another YouTuber who was the first I heard to talk about how a lot of brown women celebrities sign contracts that they can't say anything when this brown male dogs her out. She can't say anything about it. She can't speak up. And then she hears how this brown male dogs her out, but every time something happens, every time there's some police brutality that they want a narrative of police brutality that they want to push on the media, these brown woman celebrities will forget the fact that he completely dogs her out and then turn around and pump her fist and talk about Black Lives Matter and get mad at police brutality, right? Only time she get mad at police brutality is when it comes to the brown male, not when it comes to something happening to them. Because, see, yeah, it's police brutality among brown women too, but they also got a whole nother set of problems that's pretty much just as bad, if not worse. Okay? But my point is that, okay, I was listening to a video talking about how the condition of the female determines the condition of that nation. And really it was talking about just some of the first people in the world, which was like the Ethiopians and stuff like that area. And talking about how they were indoctrinated by Christianity and how they lost who they were. And so basically that particular video was talking about how, you have if you have a bunch of females who's constantly indoctrinated like that and constantly indoctrinated and don't know the truth about their nation because, they've been completely indoctrinated, then what happens is that they continue to give birth to future generations that will continue to be indoctrinated until somebody decides to correct it. See, the thing about a lot of revolutionaries and people talk about revolutionaries and messiahs, the messiah really can't be a male. The messiah can't really be a male. Okay? And this time it won't be a male anyway. And the messiahs that they wanted to use, a lot of the messiahs and these male gods, deities, or whatever still came from the feminine anyway. So it's like a stolen legacy. The same way they complain about how the so-called white man stole their history, they stole the history of the female. They stole the history of the feminine. Okay? And made male deities and made it a masculine principle when they actually stole what was the feminine principle and turned it into a masculine principle. And then the white man turned around and whitewashed them. Okay? And so the same thing that he did to the feminine principle, the white man turned around and just did to him and turned his image to white. Okay, but the point is that I was talking about the reason why I brought that up, and it made me want to say this is because by brown women, and I'm talking about even brown women who's knowledgeable, not brown women who just really don't know no better. Brown women who know better and they sit back and they let things happen anyway. Like I've listened to some brown women that's I can tell they are they're well studied in matriarchy. They're well studied in parthenogenesis. They're well studied in how things really go. They're well studied in nature. But somehow they still let this brown male kind of take over as if he's the supreme being, right? As if he's the supreme being. When I would listen to a lot of conscious lectures or whatever, yeah, true enough, I would hear like a lot of brown men that was conscious. And by the way, I want to just start. This is not by me putting down the brown male, because that's not really what I'm interested in doing. My point is saying that I'm basically saying the real reason why the brown community is really ruined the way it is. It really does start with the female. It really does start with the female. And the female don't put her foot down and correct the male. And if he can't be corrected, then the decision has to be made, right? If he can't be corrected, if you don't want to correct what he's doing, a decision has to be made. But what you cannot do is allow things to keep going on and on and on. And in the brown community, I saw a masculine principle more pushed than the feminine principle. Let me say it like that. Even in the conscious community, where you can hear men that's very knowledgeable, that's very conscious, every time and I'm talking about even going back to like the 70s and 80s and 90s hearing some of these male conscious teachers since then, in early 2000s. They would push they would know about the feminine principle, but they would want to push more of the masculine principle. Okay, they would want to push more of the masculine principle, even as conscious as they were. And here's why: they constantly focused on Egypt and Kemet. I noticed a lot of them did not want to go before that, even though they are aware of matriarchy before the first dynasty. They are completely aware of the fall of matriarchy. A lot of these male conscious teachers never wanted to talk about matriarchy. They want to stop at Kemet. They don't want to go to matriarchy because their mind is in a masculine principle. And there's a lot of females, a lot of women. It's really no such thing as women, but I just say women because that's how we talk. But it's a lot of females that were well aware, that was well studied, well knowledgeable, and that goes along with this masculine principle that it seemed like a lot of these conscious people would want to push. It's like even when I would listen to some of these females and their teachers, even if they teach about astrology, if they teach about the womb, that's how you can tell they're knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. Somehow in that lecture, somehow in their conversation, they have to talk about the brown male and his plight. And that's why sometimes a lot of brown women, I can't listen to them, because when I hear a brown woman that's doing a lecture or whatever, and she starts to talk about the white man and what how the white man wants to separate us, and this come out of her mouth, how the white man wants to separate us and how the government is doing this to us, that is not the brown woman's nature. And so when I hear them talk about that in the midst of her being conscious and knowledgeable and talking about the female and the astrology and all this stuff, in the midst of that I hear her talking about the government and the white man, she's black male identified. And this is not an insult, it's just the truth, and I can't listen to it no more, because that is not the female's nature. That certainly is not the brown woman's nature. And when I look at how brown women have a habit of getting things done regardless of what challenges she faces, she see the problem and it makes her mad, but she just seems to get the job done without focusing on who's oppressing her. Even though she see it clearly. That's why folks don't think brown women have problems though. Because she just finds a way to get the job done without complaining. Like the movie called Hidden Figures. The movie called Hidden Figures with Taraji P. Henson and that other lady that won that Oscar for being in that movie called The Help. And it's not Viola Davis, but it's that other lady. Okay? The one that she said, "Eat my shit." That's what she gave this white lady some pie. This white lady was being nasty to her, I guess, and she said, "Eat my shit," right? That one. And there was another one, a third one. I cannot remember what she looked like. If I can remember even what she looked like, I can know her name. But see, I haven't seen that movie since it was out, since it came in the movies. But anyway, the point is that they were facing a lot of challenges. Right? I mean, like, to go to the bathroom, they didn't even let them use the same bathroom in the same building. Like Taraji P. Henson, where her character, where she was working and stuff, they didn't even want to let her use the bathroom in the building. She had to go way across somewhere else and then be late for whatever she was supposed to be on time for. She had to come back and be late. And I think it was raining. I can't remember, but they were getting on her about being late. And she said, "Well, I can't use a bathroom in this building. I have to go like she almost had to go a block or something. Like she had to go way far to get to use the toilet." And with all that, you don't hear them complain about the white man. Now, I want to say this, because this is why I get on the brown women for just allowing that confusion to come in. So Taraji P. Henson meets this guy in this movie, because I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to use this, and this is going to be an example of what I see all the time in the brown community. Taraji P. Henson meets this man. I guess he's been in the military, I don't know whether they went to like some kind of cookout, where it was, but she met him for the first time, right? And it was a brown male. I think he played in some other movie called Moonlight. I remember seeing his face, and he was in some other kind of movie that won some kind of award for independent film. I think it was like Moonlight, whatever it was. I haven't seen that movie, but I remember his face is familiar. And so anyway, he was like a soldier. He was in the military, but he had come home, and she had met him for the first time. And all you can hear this man do is complain about the white man. All you can hear this man do is complain about oppression. All you can hear this man do is talk about his problems. Like, and she had to sit there and listen to him like ain't nothing going on in her life. And this is why I said this yesterday, how Chris Rock was interviewing that lady, and because they had this Million Brown Women March or whatever, but nobody knew about it until after it was over. And Chris Rock was like, "Well, we understand the brown male march, because, I said before, he understood why. But he said, but you brown women, y'all all right." So he's basically saying brown women don't have problems. You know why? Because the brown woman is so brown male identified that she don't talk about her problems. I mean, literally, the challenges they faced in that movie, Hidden Figures. I mean, and it was some severe racism towards them. But you just didn't hear them complain like that. That's what I'm saying. When you hear a brown woman fuss about police, all this oppression and all this racism, and you hear her talk like she's so pro-black, that ain't her. That's a black male's consciousness. That's not her. And what she has done, because there's a lot of brown women that still like that, they give birth to a nation that can never rise up. So that's the point I'm getting to. When the brown woman cannot be her true self, because the true nature of the brown woman, I'm like that too. That's why people don't think nothing is ever wrong with it. That's why I'm a loner. Because it's almost like we can't say nothing. Well, guess what? If I can't, basically I'm still like I'm living a human type of existence, even though we know, everybody don't know, but human is not necessarily real, right? But we live that kind of existence of a physical existence. And when you live like a type of physical existence, right, it's going to be, it's not going to be easy, okay? So the brown woman is going to have problems, okay? But it's like nobody expects her to really say anything. And I'm not talking about the women who completely lost their way and stuff like that. But, when I say completely lost their way, I'm not talking about somebody who's just, somebody who's just, what can I say? Who's really could be a virus. Like some women are really a virus at this point. But the reason why a lot of women are a virus, well, a lot of women, a lot of brown women, their bloodlines are being cut off because it was some evil coming from them too, from ancient of days, from millions of years ago. I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. A lot of them have done some evil deeds, okay, through the generations, and their bloodlines are kind of being cut off. But for the most part, though, brown women are just not allowed to say that they are really affected by a lot of things. It's like as if they have no problems. But the problem with that is that a lot of people want to keep brown women at the bottom because brown women is like basically the foundation for everybody to be on, right? Basically, like they're the platform. Like I heard somebody else say it like this, like she said the black woman, but I say the brown woman. She said the brown woman is the platform for everybody to stand on. Like everybody stand on the stage, but the brown woman at the bottom holding everybody up. And then when the brown woman say that she got a problem, they tell her to shut the heck up. Okay, and the brown woman, it's like in her nature not to complain. And then because she just takes it and don't really think about herself, number one, like I said before, that causes self-hate. That causes self-hate when you constantly ignore your needs, when you're not preserving self, because that's another thing I'm getting to. When the brown woman throughout several generations have learned not to preserve herself, but she has learned to preserve everybody else but herself. Like that movie Soul Food, how you saw the big mama and you saw how sick she was and how fat she was. And when I say fat, it's not an insult. You saw she was taking on everybody's problems. People are talking about fat and soul food and all this fatty stuff. And let me tell you something. Yeah, they put some junk in soul food. But that ain't the reason why a lot of these women are fat. A lot of these women are fat because they taking on everybody's issues. Brown women are literally the foundation for everybody to stand on that holds them up. And if people don't want to believe that, I wish I had the power for a lot of brown women to take their power back and start preserving themselves. And guess what? Whoever's listening to me right now, whoever don't believe that, I don't care if the woman is the most, I don't care if she the most ghetto person in the doggone hood. Because people like to focus on the hood and put her down. But, you know, a lot of times them being at the bottom is what's helping a lot of people be at the top. So people better be careful putting these women down, especially the lowest, what you call the lowest of the low, because I don't like to say that about people, right? That's a judgment. I don't like to judge people and their experiences. But that's what society wants to call the lowest of the low since it's a caste system, right? And but if people don't want to believe that the brown woman being at the bottom is the foundation for other people to be where they are, if they don't want to believe that bullshit, and I'm talking about the brown women worldwide, but definitely the brown women in the United States of America. Why? Because when the brown women in the United States of America say enough is enough, and enough of them say that, and enough of them take their power back and preserve themselves and start thinking about themselves and stop caring about everybody else, the rest of the world is going to follow. Because what I notice about brown Americans, it's almost like they set the blueprint. Even with the brown male, I noticed that brown Americans set the blueprint for the rest of the world, especially the rest of a lot of brown people. It seems like they set this blueprint. So you let a good number of these brown women in America, and that's what Chris Rock was afraid of when he was interviewing that woman, I can tell. They don't like it when brown women start thinking about themselves. When that lady said, when he was interviewing her, because she was part of the Million Brown Women March, she said, we spend so much time being so concerned about the black male, you know, she called him black male. We spend so much time being concerned with the black male, we need to think about us. They don't like that. They know that they know they would not be anywhere without being able to stand on brown women. And if nobody wants to believe that, brown women, I wish I had the power to get in all of their subconscious right now. I need to get in mine more than anything. So I'm working on myself. That's why I haven't been online a lot, because I have to do a lot on myself. But I want to have the power. If nobody wants to believe that, if people think that's bullshit, I want to have the power to put the message in all brown women, literally worldwide, but really the brown American women. Brown American people set the blueprint. Okay? And I really want to put it in, I really want to put it in brown women, because you see, here's the thing. You know how they say you change yourself, change starts with you, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I said earlier, I'm working on myself, really. Because they say change starts with you. So like people who's listening to me, Like if this is what you want to see in brown women, not necessarily because you are so pro brown women. I'm not necessarily pro brown women like I used to be, but I am pro like what you would call the underdog. People see the brown woman as an underdog, but she can't be the underdog if people want to. And guess what? If she's the platform for everybody to stand on, if she got to be at the bottom so other people can be at the top, she is God. I don't care what nobody say. And if you feel like any other woman could be a God other than this brown woman, this is why. Sorry, that's my phone ringing. This is why I want brown women to take their power back. I want brown women to get more into self-preservation. I want brown women to forget about everybody, not just not take her attention off this brown male, but a lot of the biggest problem with brown women is a lot of her attention is on the brown male and his plight. And what happens is because she's so brown male identified, because a brown woman, a lot of the lectures that you've seen throughout the decades in the brown community, from the conscious people, from these males, has been about the masculine principle. He's making himself the God, and he don't hardly say nothing about the female. He don't say nothing about the female. He just talk about how everything come from the black man. People come from the black man. And when brown women sit and knowing they know better, I'm talking about the ones that know better, not the ones who just really don't. They sleep. They can't. What can they do? But the problem is even the ones who sleep. If they giving birth to children, they gonna give birth to some sleep ass children. Okay, this is what I was talking about. But the ones who's conscious, the brown women who know better than to listen to that mess, they let them get away with talking like this anyway. They let these guys get away with making themselves the supreme being of all. They sit there and let them get away with it. And this is why you have what you have. There's no respect for the brown woman. But that's the boomerang that's back on the brown woman. That's why it's all about accountability. I'm not too concerned about talking bad about him. This is why the brown woman is in the condition she is in now. And it's been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. The brown woman has to take her power back. She needs to come back to who she is. And until she do that and keep taking crap off this male, really no matter what color he is, but to be honest with you, from what I've seen, she don't take a lot of shit off the white man. She shut the white man down. But she does take a lot of mess off this brown male and then make excuses for him saying, let me tell you, because I'm Generation X, this is what I heard a lot of brown women say, because I'm Generation X. Even when these brown males molest these little girls, and boys get molested too, but I'm talking about, growing up as a little girl, as a little girl, it was a lot of girls being molested around that time, all right? And you will hear brown women say that it's because of oppression. It's white supremacy. He's oppressed. He don't mean it. This is why the brown community is effed up. And this is why you have a generation of males that think it's okay to slap around women. C. Dolores Tucker, on my other channel, I talk about her every chance I almost got. I bring up C. Dolores Tucker. She waged war against gangster rap. She waged war because she knew that kind of music was going to ruin the community for good. It was literally going to take the doggone community into extinction. This could be how she felt, okay? But really, women in her generation, it wasn't a lot of women who had her back. And she had some resources. Like, she had interviews with a lot of people. She was able to get into the rooms and speak to people who were like over the what was it, the Billboard Awards or whatever. Like, she had some power. C. Dolores Tucker, if you want to talk about somebody who had influence and power, it was C. Dolores Tucker that had interviews with a lot of people. And so, but she didn't have a lot of people that had her back. And a lot of the females who were Generation X growing up, because they don't know any better. See, this is what happens when a generation before don't stick up for the children, don't take up for the children. Because see, Dolores Tucker was she was on her own doing that. She was by herself. She might have had some help, but nobody really had her back like that, right? And so you have a Generation X, that's where I come from. That's pretty much born in the late 70s and 80s like me. I was born in the late 70s. That they don't understand that music wasn't right. See, at this age, I won't listen to nothing like that no more. Even the rap I used to listen to back in the 80s, I won't listen to it now because I know better. I'm in my 40s. But see, you got to get in your 30s and 40s, and that's not healthy. To have to get this old to know that was some messed up music back then. But see, that's what happens when, you have little children that's about to be exposed to that kind of stuff. And you had Eminem talking about her. You had Snoop, because really she was on that Snoop album called Doggy Style that came out, in the early 90s. It was Dr. Dre. I think the first album was The Chronic, and then his second album might have been Doggy Style or something. So she was on that kind of rap. She called it pornographic smut and all that stuff, which she was right. She had, because it showed a picture of a female dog with her ass up in the air. Doggy style. Okay? So, yeah, it was pornographic smut. And look at what it did to the generation. But you had a lot of females from my generation that was born in the late 70s and 80s that grew up with that music, right? And so you have a lot of women that was born around that time in the 80s and in the 70s that say, well, I like that music because, see, the brown male, once again, was complaining, said, well, we have to use our voices. We have to use our voices. Well, who are you mad at? Because you use your voices to tear down the feminine. You use your voice to turn. What is the real problem? Because he's expressed himself. Expressing himself how? Because it looked like his anger is towards the feminine principle, to be honest with you, more than a white man. Look like more of his anger is towards the feminine principle. So, I mean, what is he really expressing? What is he really expressing? Okay? So, and because people, brown women from my generation especially, felt like that music was okay because that's what they grew up on. Okay? And when really see Dolores Tucker, because if it was millions of brown women from that baby boomer generation that wanted to shut that mess down, it would have been shut down. It wouldn't have been nothing no white man, it would have been nothing Clive Davis could have done. It would have been nothing no person could have done if you had millions of brown women that had see Dolores Tucker back. It don't matter if the brown man ain't have her back. Don't matter. Don't matter. I'm just saying, don't matter. If you had millions of brown women that had C. Dolores Tucker back from that generation of baby boomers to look over to make sure that the next generation was not ruined when that music came out, that shit would have been shut down. It wouldn't have been no white man powerful enough. Queen Elizabeth wouldn't even be powerful enough. Wouldn't have been nobody powerful enough if that many brown women would have got together to shut that mess down. But it wasn't many people who had her back. And this is like the psychosis. That's the mental problem with a lot of brown women, is that they let their sons get away with too much. I heard somebody else say, they let their sons run just run renegade. That's what somebody else said. They let their sons just run renegade. And that's what they did. They let their sons run renegade. And the brown woman's psyche, it's okay because she want to blame the white man for everything he does. Okay? It's oppression. It's white supremacy fault that he does all that he does. Okay? And then you get further generations of brown women like what you see in the hood now. But you want to complain about her twerking? Well, guess what? It wasn't enough women that was against that music that was degrading women. So now the lyrics, the exact lyrics that was in that music, Doggy Style, and all that stuff that came out, guess what? That's what you see the mess in the hood now. So why complain about what brown women and all her twerking? It wasn't a problem when Miley Cyrus was doing it, though. I just want to put that out there. And really, it's nothing wrong with brown women twerking. I like twerking. I mean, let me tell you something. I just don't feel like it should be done the way it's done to degrade her. I have no problem with twerking. I have no problem with splits. I have no problem with the stripper pole. See, let me tell you something. Brown women used to be the priestesses of sex. Okay, they used to control that shit. Look at American Gods with that Bilquis lady. She understood how to take the energy from the male. Okay? The very first season of American Gods. People want to control the brown woman's sexuality. I don't like the way it's done to make her look like she ain't nothing. I don't like the way it's shown on camera, but I don't have a problem with a brown woman twerking. I don't. I'm not conservative. I'm not conservative. Now, I wouldn't get on camera and shake my booty, especially in my 40s. I wouldn't get on camera and shake my booty. But like, if I want to go out and have fun, I will drop it like it's hot. Why not? Stop being so conservative. These white women get out there. I've been to these clubs. They do what the hell they want to do. Nobody has a problem with them. People don't. Brown women used to be able to control sex like that. They knew all the mysteries. The first season of American Gods, because I didn't really get past that since I didn't have a TV. I would just pay for the season, right, on the internet. But and I didn't watch TV by choice though, right? But like, they showed all these men. They showed Bill Quest in American Gods season 1, how she was in this club and dancing, and how she had something in her, and all of the men were so jealous of her. Like, they wanted what she had. They were so jealous of her. Brown male, the Arab man, whoever, the white man, they were all jealous of her and what she had, right? And this is why you have this energy that want to criticize the brown woman for whatever she does. It used to be in the 80s that she was so conservative she wouldn't hardly do nothing. They would say that she was like those Old Testament women when it came to sex. They called her like she was like Old Testament women, right? And they said that this is what I remember in the 80s, because I was born in the 70s, late 70s, but I remember the 80s, right? In the 80s, I remember brown men saying that they were going to go to white women because white women would take it up the ass. Okay? Well, I would say keep going around white women, because I don't want shit in my ass now. I don't want no dick in my ass. I'm not doing nothing, no way. I'm be honest with you. I'm not doing any of that right now. So I don't mean to talk nasty like I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. But I'm just saying, even if I was, I don't want shit. I don't want that in my butthole, because even you hear this from a lot of homosexual men. They're like incontinent of bowel. They're incontinent. You know, like they have bowel accidents. Okay, so that's not good to be having some penis in your behind like that. You know, it's not made for that. Okay, but yeah. And so brown woman turned around, listened to all this music, listened to all this rap music, and then she became all over sexualized. And then you hear the brown woman complain all over YouTube in 2006. Oh, brown women are so over sexualized. How she get like that? Because she used to be like Old Testament women, and then when you get to the doggone 90s, in 2000s, she's like over sexualized, and she's a hoe and a slut. Okay, but my point is, though, because I'm about to end this, my whole point is, and yes, you hear me bring up the brown, this is not really about the brown male, but he can't help but to be in a conversation, because I'm talking about the brown community, and the condition of the brown woman determines the future generations. The condition of the woman in any culture, in any nation, determines the psyche of future generations. And because it was purposely done to make sure this brown woman mentally stays low, in a low vibration like that, then you have generations of children that just seems like they gone. Okay? Okay, so that's all I wanted to say, and that'll be it.